Greetings. Welcome back to another video. I am Cril of the Cril Inspires channel, also Cril of Out the Box Media. I am so excited to be back for another video. I want to try to do these videos more often and more frequent. And I am the guy that is here to give you advice and insight and guides to creating a successful interview podcast or further developing a successful interview podcast. All right. Last video, I spoke about my services opening up now where I am doing one-on-one coaching. So if you are someone that, needs a little extra support and you need me to guide you specifically through whatever challenges you're having with developing your interview podcast, I'm available for you to book me for a virtual session where I'll listen to what your challenges specifically are and offer my suggestions on the next best steps you can take to create and develop a successful interview podcast and just achieve your desired level of success. All right. So if you want to book a session with me, the link is in the description of this video. And I have a flexible schedule this month. So definitely go ahead and book at the link below if it's something you're interested in, you think you can benefit from. So I want to jump into the topic of today. This topic I thought about over the weekend, and I was just thinking about, man, this is something that I realized I've struggled with, and I was able to find a rhythm that actually works for me now. So this topic is really related to like booking interviews and reaching out to guests for interviews. So one of the things that you'll notice when you're booking or trying to request guests to come on your show for interviews is that if you're doing your show regularly, meaning you're putting out a show once every week or once every 2 weeks, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you always have a guest lined up for the week that your show is supposed to air or the day in the week that your show is supposed to air. So one of the things that enables you to do that is to make sure that you have confirmed dates. Now, because you're dealing with different people and different schedules and just the ability to make sure that everybody that you're looking to book meets the schedule that works for you and for them, it becomes a little challenging when it comes to booking, right? So one of the challenges I've always had was, say I have a show next week, right? And my show airs every Friday. I have to make sure that when I book a guest, every guest that I book is going to be able to do the interview in time for me to put it out for my Friday show. So my Out the Box Talks podcast, pretty much all of my interviews are pre-recorded. So I would do my pre-recorded interview on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and then it gives me at least a day in between or 2 days in between to put the show out on a Friday, right? So what that means for me is that I need to have multiple interviews done within a week, or at the very least have one interview scheduled every week prior to Friday, right? Either on a Tuesday or Wednesday, just so that I can put out a new episode every Friday. So what that means is that I have to make sure that the interview happens on Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Now, I could do multiple interviews in that week, right? But one of the issues I started having is it became too much for me to do two interviews in 1 week and then edit one of those interviews and put them out. It became a little too much. I've done it before, but it just doesn't work for my rhythm. So what that means now is I have to make sure I get an interview every week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Now, in most cases, once I get the interview confirmed, the interview usually happens on either of those days, Tuesday or Wednesday. But when it's time to request the interviews, what tends to happen is I may request one person and that person may not respond. So I now have to request 2, 3, and 4 people, right? Now, here's where it gets tricky. If I'm requesting 4 people for either Tuesday or Wednesday at 8 or 9 o'clock when I usually do my interviews, that means that there's a chance that all 4 of those people respond back saying, yeah, they can do the interview at the same time, right? That there puts me in a place of multiple booking or double booking or overbooking, right? Now, I was always nervous about doing that for that reason of double booking in case everybody said, or even it doesn't even have to be all 4. It could be 2 out of the 4 that say, yeah, I can do it. And now I have to switch things around and let one of them know I can't do it, or try to do it with both, or try to do the interview with both of them, right? So the reason why I say it's okay to double book or overbook at first is because you don't know what you're gonna get, right? It's a numbers game sometimes. So it's better to get 2 or 3 or 4 people saying, yeah, they can do the interview, as opposed to getting nobody saying they can do it. Because what you could then do is choose out of, let's say all 4 decide that they are available for the interview. What you could then do is choose the one that you want to interview the most, right? And then reach back out to the other 3 and tell them, hey, I'm so sorry, I overbooked. Is there any chance that you can do the interview next week? But what you want to do is go in the order of the person that you most want to interview. So you could do guest A, guest B, guest C, guest D, and they move in alphabetical order as the most priority, right? So guest A, you know that's who you want, so you lock him in for the day that you suggested to him, the day and time that you suggested to him. Guest B, you reach back out to him and you tell him, look, I can't do it again. I apologize. I overbooked, but can you do it next week for this time, right? And you wait till they respond before you close out that time next week that you offered them, right? You go to guest C and you offer guest C the following week, not the week that you, not the weekend time that you offered guest B. You offer guest C a different day and time. And then the same thing with D, you offer them an even different day and time, right? So now all 4 of these guests that had initially agreed on one day and time that was all the same, you're now going back to B, C, and D, and you're offering them a different day and time, right? And you don't double book their time until they tell you, hey, I can't do that time. But if they tell you I can do that new time that you're giving me, then you've kept them there because you didn't double book, right? And it's the same thing with the others. If you find yourself in a situation where the guest B or C tells you, or even D tells you, hey, I can't do that new proposed time, then you offer them another new time in the future. But what you don't do is offer them a time that you offered C and D, right? So what I'm saying is, if you don't remember anything at all, if nothing else makes sense to you, the main rule is it's okay to multiple book once, but don't multiple book again. Instead, offer different times for each person that has okayed the original book time, but always offer another open book time and keep that time only available to the person you offer. All right. You want to keep that time only available until they say they can't do that time. Then you can go back to the drawing board and then offer them a whole new different time. So again, it's okay to multiple book initially, but don't multiple book again. Because if you do that again, you diminish your credibility. You diminish your professionalism, right? To stick to your word. So yeah, man, it's something that, believe it or not, it'll come up, especially if you're having to stay to a schedule with your interviews, right? You have to stay at a certain schedule and then make sure that you are meeting that schedule every week. So for me, like I said, I have to make sure I do an interview every Tuesday or Wednesday so that I can have a new episode for Friday. And I don't want to do 2 interviews a week, because what that does for me is it kind of exhausts me. In some situations, you may have to do that because it might just be an artist you want to get, and that's the only time they have available, right? But for the most part, you know, if you plan ahead of time, that's another thing that's really key. Make sure that you're planning ahead of time. So if you know you have to put out a new episode every Friday, right? Make sure that you have 3 or 4 interviews scheduled ahead of time. This week, you're scheduled for this person. The next week, you're scheduled for this person. The next week, you're scheduled for this person. And it's going to make the interview scheduling process a little bit more comfortable and easier, right? You'll be able to manage it a lot better if you're scheduling ahead of time. All right. But I just wanted to share that it's okay to multiple book or overbook initially, because sometimes you'll find yourself in a situation where you really, really need an interview next week and you didn't get a chance to book anybody ahead of time, but you really, really need that interview. But you know that if you reach out to one person, there's a likelihood you might not get that person, right? A lot of times it happens with like the big name artists. You might reach out to a big name artist and you really want to get them, but they don't respond. So you always have to have a plan B, C, and even a plan D. So what you have to do is, this is the first person I'll reach out to. I'll offer him this day and time for next week. The next person, I'll offer them the same day and time for next week. And then the third person, I'll offer them the same day and time. And you just wait to see who responds first. Whoever responds first, give them that time slot and let whoever else responds, let them know, hey, I'm sorry. I know you're available for the time that I suggested to you, but I overbooked and I would like to schedule you for another time. In most cases, 9 times out of 10, they'll reschedule with you. All right. And just keep that rescheduled date that you give them moving forward. So that's it. I just wanted to share that with y'all today. This is really a topic that comes up when you are looking to schedule guests for interviews. So something to be ahead of the game with, and I think it'll benefit you. So thank you again for tuning in for another video where I educate individuals on best steps that they can take to create a successful interview podcast. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And as I said, I am doing consulting now and coaching. So if you would like to get some one-on-one support and, just so that you can share with me what it exactly is your challenge in, creating or developing your interview podcast, let me know so I can support you and give you the best suggestion and next steps you can take to achieve your success for your podcast. All right. So talk to y'all next video. Peace, love, and light. I'll be back later. Take care.